There are so many different ways that you can buy a car. There is outright, finance, and leasing. But which is in fact the cheapest way of purchasing your car? Well, spoiler alert, there is in fact one method which is by far the cheapest way that you can buy your car. In this video, I'm going to be going over the three main ways that you can purchase a car, and then we're going deep into the numbers to figure out which one is the cheapest one. I'm then going to be talking at the end which one is best suited to you, because there are some which suit others better than others too. So without further ado, what exactly are the three different ways of purchasing a car? The most common way, and the one which you've probably heard of as well, is buying a car outright. And this is simply, you go to the forecourt, go to the dealership of the car you want to purchase, and you transfer the money from your bank account to their bank account, and it's the full amount for the car. You're not financing any of it, it's going straight from your account into the dealership's account. And the real benefits of this is you have full ownership and control over the car, meaning you can do whatever you want with the car. You can put as many miles on the car as you want. There is no restrictions with that car whatsoever. The only problem with that is you're departing with a lot of your money straight away. If your car's £40,000, one, you need to have enough money in your bank account to be able to purchase that car, and two, that's £40,000 that's leaving your account that day, and you're not seeing that £40,000 ever again due to depreciation on the car. And that's why a lot of people choose financing their car instead. And there's two different financing methods which you can do. There is PCP, which is probably one of the most popular, and that is personal contract purchase. This is where you put a deposit down on the car which you want, and then you'll pay monthly payments, which is essentially the depreciation of the car each month, with a potential balloon payment at the end if you want to fully own the car. Now, the good thing about this is the deposit's extremely low and monthly repayments are quite low as well. So you're not actually losing out on your money at all. But the only thing is, you don't own the car at all, you're just paying the depreciation, which is why a lot of people go with the third method, which is hire purchase. And hire purchase is simply putting down a deposit on the car, but rather than just paying the depreciation over that term, you are now also paying off the principal of that car over the term. So you are putting monthly payments into actually owning that car in 3-4 years time. The good thing is with this, you get full ownership of the car, you don't have any mileage restriction, but the thing is the monthly repayments are a bit cheaper. So where you would have seen £200-300 with PCP, you're probably seeing £1,000 to £1,200 with hire purchase. And to be honest with you, buying outright or financing just isn't anyone's preference either. They would rather lease a car. And leasing a car is you go to the dealership or you go to the owner of the car, and you're essentially renting that car from the person and you're paying monthly rental payments to them. You do need to put a deposit down for this, but it's also nowhere near as much as PCP or HP, simply because it's usually like 6, 10 or even 12 months value of the purchase price of the car. They're the main ways that you could purchase a car, but which is the cheapest way? Well, let's start off with buying a car outright. But for the purpose of comparison, I'm going to be using a Tesla Model 3. And Tesla's Model 3s, looking at the Tesla website, a 2025 version is going to set you back around £39,990. I'm going to use this car for comparison because one, lots of people are buying Teslas right now, and with a Tesla you can buy it in the 4 different ways which I'm going to mention, which makes it so easy to collect data and figure out exactly how much it costs. Like I said, let's start off with buying a car outright, this Tesla Model 3. So here is the Tesla, £39,990. Like I said, you are departing with your money straight away and you are purchasing that car for that amount. You may think that's the cost of the car, but it actually isn't. You're actually paying a lot less for the car, and let me explain why. So when you own a car for, let's say, 3 years, you essentially have depreciation of that car. So it will lose maybe £5,000-10,000 of its value each year. And it does this because you are putting miles on the car, you are using it inside, and therefore it deteriorates ever so slightly. And that deterioration is in the form of depreciation. That's how you measure it. And then of course you've got Tesla bringing out new cars, new models, new shapes. So let's assume that you hold this Tesla for 3 years. That means you need to sell it at the end of the 3 years, and how much is it worth? Well, looking at the Tesla website, looking at the pre-owned Teslas, we can find a 2022 Tesla with reasonable miles, around 44,000, so little over 12 to 13,000 per year. You can buy that for £21,000, which means that yes, you bought the car for £40,000, but you're getting £21,000 back. That difference between those two numbers is your depreciation, how much money you've lost on the car. And that works out at taking £39,990 minus £21,000 means that you are left with £18,990. And that is how much the car has essentially cost you to own over the 3 years that you've owned the car for. Yes, there's going to be other maintenance costs involved, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to not talk about those because in the other calculations that I've done, I've also excluded this. So keep that number in your head. Let's go on to financing a car and let's see if it is any cheaper. So like I said, there's two different financing options. You've got PCP and you've got HP. Let's first talk about hire purchase. So with hire purchase, to buy the car, you typically need to put a deposit down. And you can pretty much put a deposit down of whatever you like. You will then be paying monthly installments to own the car, and you typically own the car over a 3 to 4 year period. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to use 3 years. So value of the car is £39,990. And let's assume we put down a £5,000 deposit, which would mean that we would need to finance on this car £34,990 at a 2.9% rate. That works out at around £1,016 per month. And because you're owning it for 3 years, which is 36 months, we'll times that by, you guessed it, 36, which ends up working out at £36,576. That's how much you're going to be paying for the car over the period. You need to add back your deposit, which is £5,000, which works out at £41,576. So that's how much the car is costing you to finance over the 3 year period. Now, like we did with buying the car outright, we will sell the car after 3 years. Assuming that the car is £21,000, like we said before, this would mean that the car has cost you £20,576, which is in fact way more expensive than buying the car outright. That is around £1,500 more expensive. So straight away, there is an immediate winner. But what about PCP? Well, let's have a look at the numbers. Once again, we're assuming a total value of £39,990. We're going to make this as comparable as possible, and we're going to put a £5,000 deposit down. This would mean, once again, we have £34,990 to finance at a 2.9% rate. And this 2.9% rate is being used because that is the rate in the market at the moment as of April 2025. This would mean that we would have monthly repayments of around £505. And remember that £505 is the depreciation of the car each month. This would mean that 505 times 36 is going to end up costing £18,180. Add back your £5,000 deposit you put on it initially would mean that the car is costing you in total £23,180. That is also £3,000 more than hire purchase, which is absolutely astonishing. So basically you can buy a car in 3 different ways and you're paying 3 different prices for it. Now, one thing to mention with the PCP is you can purchase the car at the end of the period. And in this circumstance, it'll be £18,000. So you are buying it cheaper than the 21,000 retail price, but you've spent an extra £4,000 on financing the car, which means that you are already at a net loss anyway. You're probably thinking, okay, so the 2 financing options, they are relatively expensive, so buying outright is the cheaper option. And yes, you're right. But let's look at leasing now. Now, like I said, leasing is renting the car off Tesla. So you would go to Tesla and you'd ask for the Model 3 and you would be renting that car off them. But how much does that cost? Well, the deposit is slightly different. You typically pay 12 months of the period that you're renting it for of the purchase price, which works out at £3,588. Choosing the option to lease would cost you £299 per month times that by 36 like we were saying, because we're gonna have it for 3 years, works out at £10,764. We now need to add back our deposit which we paid, which is £3,588, which works out at £14,352, which is not only a lot cheaper than the financing options, but it is also so much cheaper than buying the car outright. It's almost it's almost £5,000 cheaper than buying the car outright. And the thing is, you're also benefiting from having that money in your bank account. So that £40,000, you've got that money in your bank account earning interest rate in your cash ISA, your stocks and shares ISA, your high interest rate account. In essence, that is by far the cheapest way of buying a car. But let's move on to what is actually the best way for you, what would suit you. And that's the big question here. Leasing is a lot cheaper than the other options, but the thing is, you don't own the car at all. That money that you're putting away is dead money. You're never gonna see that £14,000 again, and you are restricted on mileage with leasing and with PCP. Typically, this could be 10,000, 12,500 or 15,000. If you want more, you need to pay more money monthly, which is an additional expense. And that is why HP and buying outright is a lot of people's preference, because you own the car, you can put as many miles on it as you want, you can treat it however you want, you can put modifications on the car if you want, and that is what some people like instead of just renting the car or just paying the depreciation on it. You really need to bear that in mind when you want to purchase your car. But if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm looking at getting a Tesla at the moment, and I'm going straight to leasing, because at the end of the day, a car is a car, and I want to pay as little as possible for that car. And that is exactly why I would lease a Tesla Model 3. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. This model can be applied to any other cars. So if you're not looking at an electric car, you could also look at a diesel, a petrol, and you can also apply this model. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and watch my other videos for more financial content. Thanks for watching.